Have you ever heard someone's name being called, even though you knew that person was already dead? This isn't a figure of speech. It's not an exaggeration. I'm talking about clearly hearing a presence respond to your call. Even after the body has been buried, this story isn't about ghosts. It's about something rooted deep in the system, in the moldy walls of old schools and classrooms that hold more than just memories. It's about a mistake no one ever corrected, and about a teacher who, on the last day of school, discovered she wasn't the one giving the lesson. She was the one about to receive it. The last day of the school year always carries a strange atmosphere. Half nostalgic, half desperate. Loud laughter, scratched desks, notes being passed under tables, and that false sense of freedom. But for Ms. Camila, something about that day felt wrong. It wasn't a clear feeling. It was as if time slowed down, as if the floor of classroom 203 was absorbing every step. She tried to ignore it, forced a smile, handed out the attendance sheets, and started roll call like every year. Name by name, answer by answer, until she got to him. "Rafael Moreira," she said, and then the silence was broken. A dry, clear present, spoken with such naturalness that she automatically replied, "Thank you." Only afterward did she realize what she had done. Only afterward did she remember Rafael had died 3 months ago. A bus accident, a funeral with all the teachers, students in shock. But she heard it. She swears she heard it, and she wasn't the only one. The students looked at each other. Some laughed nervously, others froze as if the air had left the room. Camila tried to keep calling names, pretending nothing had happened, but she couldn't take her eyes off that empty desk at the back of the room. It was where Rafael used to sit, the same desk that had been removed, or at least should have been, because there it was, untouched, as if it had never been moved, as if it was waiting for someone to return. And worse, Rafael's name wasn't even on that year's list. The list was digital, official. Camila printed it straight from the system. There was no way, no logic, but she knew what she heard, and it couldn't be forgotten. During the break, she went to the principal's office. She needed to check the original list, see if her mind was playing tricks on her. But she found nothing unusual. No mistakes, no trace of his name. Except that on the coordinator's desk, there was something strange. An old notebook with cracked leather cover and a strong smell of dampness. She shouldn't have touched it, but she did. And when she opened it, there it was, a page titled "Final Roll Call," and right below, 5 names handwritten. Rafael Moreira was the first. The other 4 spaces were blank, as if waiting for someone, as if the list was being filled, little by little. Can you imagine what that means? Being alive, present, conscious, and at the same time realizing your name is on a list that no one else sees? Camila left the room staggering. The hallway seemed darker, the walls closer. The students' laughter now sounded like distorted echoes, laughter that didn't belong to that time. Something was happening, something she didn't understand, but it was already in motion. Because at that moment she understood the school had a memory of its own, and Rafael wasn't forgotten. He was claimed. She thought about leaving, walking away from it all. But how do you abandon the place where your identity was shaped? How do you run from a system that has already recorded your name on a cursed page? That night, as she looked again at the notebook hidden inside her bag, Yes, she took the notebook. Something appeared at the bottom of the list. A new name, freshly written. Hers, Camila Rocha, responsible teacher. Final roll call, 12:47 p.m., at the exact time she had called Raphael. And now the question that won't let go. What if someone called your name too, even after you were gone? Would you answer? If this gave you chills, if it shook something inside you that you can't explain, comment below. I'm still here. Because sometimes just saying you're still present is enough for something to notice you. There's something no one talks about when it comes to being a teacher. Something you only understand when the halls empty out, when the last roll call echoes deep in your throat, and when the teacher's lounge turns into a sanctuary of silent confessions. Some days it feels like the school doesn't want you to leave, like it's watching you, listening to you, choosing you. On that last day of class, Ms. Camila thought she was just tired. But what she experienced was not simple exhaustion. It was a warning, a call, and it started with a conversation. One of those conversations you know you should never have heard. The promise here is simple. What you're about to hear might change the way you see your teachers, because there's a weight they carry. And it's not just tests, grading, or report cards. It's something darker, older, a silent pact no one signs, but everyone feels. Camila felt it the moment she entered the teacher's lounge that afternoon. The lights were dimmer, the air conditioner buzzed steadily as if trying to whisper something. And there, sitting alone with trembling hands, was Jorge. History teacher, in his 50s, known for being strict and straightforward, but in that moment he was just a man scared, very scared. "I need to confess before the bell rings," he said, and there was something in the way he said it, as if time itself was a prison, and the sound of the bell a sentence. Camila didn't understand, but she sat down and listened. What Jorge told her wasn't just disturbing, it was impossible to ignore. He said he knew, that he always knew Raphael would die in that bus accident. That death wasn't a coincidence, it was a reckoning. Something the school demands. According to him, every 5 years a student is chosen. No one really understands how or why. But what he knew and couldn't forget was that Raphael broke a rule not written in any manual. No student can leave before completing their final lesson. If they try to run, the school corrects it in its own way. Do you feel that? That pressure in your chest, like you're breathing memories that aren't yours? Camila felt it too. As Jorge spoke, she began to remember old cases. A girl who disappeared in the library and was never found. A substitute teacher who stayed a week and vanished from the system. Stories that seemed like student exaggerations, but now made too much sense. She tried to interrupt, to ask if he was serious, but before she could say anything, the lights flickered. It was quick, half a second maybe, but when they came back, Jorge was gone, the chair still spinning, as if he'd been pulled away, sucked out, and on the table only the folder he held so tightly. Inside, no evidence, no administrative papers. There were 5 black and white photos, torn, eyes crossed out in red pen. One was Raphael, another was hers, Camila Rocha, teacher. The back of the photo had a date, the next day, and a phrase, "The final lesson will be applied at 12:47. Have you ever had the feeling that someone knew everything about you before you even showed up? Like your name was already carved somewhere it shouldn't exist? Camila ran. She searched every corner of the school, looked for Jorge, looked for witnesses, but no one knew anything. They said Mr. Jorge had retired last year, that he shouldn't be there. But she saw him, she heard him, she touched the folder, and she still has the photo today. Only now, every day that passes, she feels the clock tighten, like time is running out, like that lesson that never came is still on its way. Comment below if this awakened something in you. If any part of this story gave you chills, made you remember a classroom, a teacher, a disappearance never explained. And if you've ever felt your name being called, even in the silence, write down here, I'm still here. Because sometimes that's all she needs to know. Who's next?